Hey, my name is Quinton. I'm a professional youth mentor. I work in schools, colleges, pupil referral units to help children and young people express their thoughts, their feelings, their worries and their concerns. I'm the managing director of MMAP Pathways and the founder of Knife Crime Victim Support. The most important thing for me is interconnectivity. It's about getting multiple agencies together, multiple practitioners, sharing knowledge, sharing our concerns, but also sharing solutions. It's powerful to have community cohesion, solidarity that we see in the room. I can feel it in the room. Active Essex have done an amazing job by bringing everyone underneath the same roof, and the practitioners and the criminal justice fraternity getting together to empower the community and society as a whole. Using sport and music as a way to empower children, young people, vulnerable adults. We can look at transferable skills. It takes discipline to go to a studio. It takes discipline to train. It takes discipline to go to a gym, to put the boxing gloves on. It takes focus. And so what we look at protective factors, and they're the things that you care about, and they're the things that you value. We look at our sense of motivation. And so actually, when you're involved in sports, it surrounds you with people, like-minded people that help to motivate you, build on that emotional intelligence, and importantly, your sense of resilience. Because sometimes when you're writing or when you're involved in music, it might not go right the first time, but it'll go right the second time and the third time and the fourth time. You keep trying. The same on track and field, the same in a boxing ring or kickboxing, football. It teaches you that a setback is a setup for a comeback. At the top of this interview, I talked about interconnectivity, and I think that we're losing that in our communities. I think because I don't want to blame everything on social media, but children and young people are in more. They're playing FIFA, they're playing a COD, and actually we need to build our social skills, our interpersonal skills. We need to rebuild that. When I used to walk down the street kind of at 15, 14, if I was doing anything wrong, everyone was your auntie. You might have heard this before. Everyone was your nan. They're like, you're in trouble. I can see you throwing stones, or I can see you kicking that football over that house and that fence. I didn't do it. My friends did. I saw them doing it. It wasn't actually me. I was just witnessing it. But actually, people felt responsible for their community. Of course, we tend to romanticize our past and think that everything was great and everything was perfect. It wasn't. But society can fall apart at the seams sometimes if we don't stick together, if we don't move towards cohesion, if we don't challenge each other when we're making our mistakes. And that's another little one line I've got. The only mistake that you make are the ones that you don't learn from. And so my auntie used to kind of tell me, you're going off the rails here. Auntie used to bring me back on. Mum used to bring on, or dad would get involved. So it's about that community, it's about that familial approach, it's about your support network, and it's about your safety net. If we haven't got a support network, how can we do it? If we haven't got self-love, if we haven't got self-esteem, if we don't know how to self-regulate, if we don't understand conflict resolution, if we're not learning that from anywhere, if we haven't got positive role models, if we're seeing bad influences, negative influences, and negative imagery online, then that can distort a child's worldview. A child's worldview is where they're going, what they're doing, what they can see around them. And actually, the community can distort their worldview because of those influences, those negative influences. We need positive influences, we need positive role models, and it very definitely does take a village to raise a child. And social media is the new village. It doesn't need to be a nanny state, but there's no policing in WhatsApp groups. If you look at WhatsApp, if you look at Snapchat, if you look at TikTok, children and young people are having conversations behind closed doors that no one's aware of. I want to be really sensitive with this, but I've seen and heard of incidents where it all boiled up in social media world. Parents, caregivers didn't have an absolute clue. And then what happened, it spilled into reality. So we've got to be mindful of that. Again, we don't want to be a nanny state. We don't want to over-police, but we've got to be mindful. We've got to teach. We've got to educate. Social awareness, online social awareness, because young people project an avatar. They project a different personality. So our persona is our mask that we wear. So we're called people and persons because of a mask. You can interpret that from the Greek language, right? So think about this. What we're projecting online, we can be a whole different person, and we can get into a little bit of a comfort zone. We can wear kind of trap star and hood rich and pretend that we're doing this and we're about that life. when actually when it spills onto the streets, people that might pick you up on that. Importantly though, yeah, you get a thing that I call it, some people call it contagion, I call it kind of cross-pollination. So people that come from deep trauma, actually, you know, from adverse childhood experiences, dysfunctional backgrounds, that actually spills into people that have never ever been exposed to that in their whole lives. And sometimes they might find it, they might glorify it, they might glamorize it, they'll be really impressed by it. Young people are really impressionable in their most formative years. So we've got to protect that, interject, manage, cooperate, build. We as people have that ability to elevate and empower. There's always been serious violence, unfortunately. There's always been abject poverty in places, socioeconomic influences. There's always been intergenerational crime. But you know, we are seeing figures of knife crime that are, you know, surpass those figures from as early as World War II, right? So we have seen summers and particular years where the numbers were particularly high. But if we were to see a graph and we were to see the data points and we were to triangulate all of that information and those data points, then actually we can see that serious violence is on the rise. There's some great work being done here in Essex. We've seen reduction of hospital admissions. I think, don't quote me on this, by up to a quarter. So that's great work. You know, we look at hospital admissions because not everyone reports it to the police. So we look around, we see that there have been changes. I do feel that, you know, what we see on social media, as I said before, is spilling out into kind of reality, and the figures speak for themselves. And that's why all of the practitioners here, they've got the same passion to make change. We've got an opportunity to give people hope, yeah, to give people a sense of belonging, to give people something to aspire to. Let's put all that together. Let's meld that together and make real, sustainable, ongoing, and meaningful change. I don't want to be negative. Let's be positive about the numbers and how we can change that pattern.